I work here at the Concord branch of the Cabarrus County Public Library, and I'm really excited you're watching this video today. We are going to be doing animal science. And what that means is we're going to learn about animals and a lot of the really cool things that animals can do. Animals have a lot of really special and unique features or adaptations. An adaptation is something that an animal has developed over time that helps them. It helps them live where they live, or eat the kind of foods that they eat, or stay safe by hiding from their predators. And those adaptations, sometimes scientists can't even figure out how or why they happen. But today, you and I are going to become scientists, and we are going to do a few science experiments to see if we can figure out why certain animal adaptations work. Are you ready? Okay, so when you want to learn something, there's a lot of ways you can do that. You can watch videos or TV shows, you can read books, or you can do experiments, and that's what we're going to do today. Now, when a scientist does an experiment, they follow the scientific method, and there are 6 steps to the scientific method. Number 1 is the purpose, or why are you doing an experiment? Number 2 is research. So you want to learn all you can about your subject you're experimenting on. Number 3 is the hypothesis, and that is what you think is going to happen. Number 4 is your experiment. Then your data and analysis, which is where you take everything that you learned and try to come up with an answer. And that answer is called your conclusion. And your conclusion could be that your hypothesis was right. It could be that your hypothesis was wrong, or it could be that both are true. Our first experiment is going to be about frogs. So I heard that there are some frogs called wood frogs, and they live in places where it's kind of cold. And in the winter, they hibernate by burying down under the leaves, and their body actually freezes. It gets really hard and frozen, and it's like that all winter long. And then when the weather gets warmer, it unfreezes or it thaws, and it's alive, it's fine. Now, if you or I were to freeze, we would be in big trouble. But these frogs are okay. So we're gonna do an experiment to figure out how that works. If you want to do these experiments at home, I'm going to tell you the supplies. You can pause your video, go get your supplies, come back and do it with me, or you can watch the whole video and do it later at home, whatever you want to do. So in researching, because I want to know why frogs don't die when they freeze in the winter, and I did some research and I found out that frog blood has a lot of sugar in it. It's called glucose. Humans don't have a lot of glucose in their blood, but frogs, wood frogs, do. So I wonder if that sugar affects them somehow. So I think my hypothesis is going to be that sugar keeps frogs' blood from freezing, maybe? That's what we're gonna say, that sugar keeps the frog's blood from freezing. And here's what you're gonna need. You're going to need 2 balloons. You're going to need some sugar, just like sugar you cook with. I've got a spoon. I've got a funnel, a measuring cup, and some water. All right. So to get started, we are going to pour a little bit of water in our measuring cup. And for a scientific experiment, you want things to be the same every time you do them. So we want the same amount of water in both balloons. So I'm doing 1/3 cup of water. Take my balloon, attach it to my funnel, and I'm just gonna pour regular, plain water in this balloon. All right, tie a knot in it. This is the hard part. Now for my second balloon, remember we said that we think sugar makes a difference? So I'm gonna pour 1/3 cup of water in my measuring cup. Then I'm gonna add some sugar. And I'm gonna add a lot of sugar because frog's blood can have a lot of sugar in it. So we're gonna do about 2 big scoops of sugar. And then we're gonna mix it up. And you have to mix it really good. Sometimes it takes a minute for the sugar to dissolve in the water. I think that's pretty good. And we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna take our balloon, attach it to our funnel. And let's get our sugar all mixed up. Add our sugar water to our balloon. And tie it. Now the next step takes a while. I have already done it. So if you don't want to know the answer, skip forward a little bit in the video. But if you want to see what happens, I've got my regular water and my sugar water, and you're going to put these in your freezer of your refrigerator and let them sit for a couple of hours. If you let them sit too long, you won't get an answer. But if you just let them sit for a few hours, you'll get an answer. So I did that, and I have got my 2 balloons, one with sugar water and one with regular water. And you will not believe the sugar water, look, it's not melted at all. I can feel there's some ice crystals. It feels kind of like if you were to eat a slushie. That's what it feels like. But my just plain water, and let's see if you can hear this, listen. It's frozen. It's even been sitting out a little while and there's still a huge solid ice chunk in it. Hear the difference? So what does this tell us? Plain water without sugar freezes solid, but water with sugar in it doesn't freeze. So that would be our analysis. Sugar doesn't freeze and water does. So what does that tell us about frogs? Maybe frogs can hibernate because their blood doesn't freeze all the way. The sugar in their blood keeps them from freezing and helps them stay alive all winter long. Now, if you want to do this at home, you can use all kinds of things. If you don't have balloons, you can just put some water in the bottom of your cup. You can, if you don't have a funnel, you get mom or dad to help you and cut off your water bottle. You can stick your water bottle in your balloon and pour water in. You can come up with all different ways to try it, but it's a really cool experiment. And it's fun filling a slushy balloon afterwards. Okay, so that was experiment 1. We learned about frog blood and how frogs hibernate. Now let's go to number 2. Experiment number 2 is going to be learning about duck feathers. Now, birds, when they swim, they float and act like it doesn't bother them, right? But have you ever been swimming with your clothes on? It's terrible. Your clothes get wet and they get heavy and they feel so gross and you feel like you're gonna sink. It's hard to swim. Ducks don't seem to have that problem, even though they have feathers all over them. And I wonder why that is. So our question is, how do ducks swim with feathers without feeling really gross? Our research, I read, and I found out that a lot of ducks have special oil on their feathers. I wonder if the oil keeps their feathers from getting wet. So my hypothesis is that oil helps ducks swim without their feathers getting wet and gross. Okay, now we're gonna do our experiment. You need some kind of paper something. I have really thick hard cardstock. You could use a piece of cardboard. You could use anything you have at home, construction paper. I drew a cute feather. You can draw whatever you want to on it. Cut it out. we're going to test it. We are going to take one feather and leave it totally plain. We're going to take another feather and we're going to put vegetable oil on it. Now, you can use vegetable oil, or if you don't have vegetable oil, you could use coconut oil or olive oil, any kind of oil you have at home. And I'm just going to paint it on my feather like this. There we go. Okay. So I have one feather that's plain, and one feather that I have painted oil on, and it's kind of see-through. You can see the oil, but it's still hard. It's not wet or gloopy or falling apart. The next thing we're going to do is just sprinkle some water on it and see what happens. So I'm going to take some water and start with, let's move you to the side. We're going to start with our regular duck feather. And we're going to put water on it. Sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. I'm going to let it sit there for a minute. Ooh, it's already starting to get really bleh. Okay, now let's take our feather with vegetable oil. We're going to sprinkle some water on it. Whoa. Okay, don't know if you can see this. I might come get up close so you can see. But the feather with oil on it has got little bubbles of water. It's not really soaking up the water. Our other feather is now really disgusting. It is mushy and wet, and it actually feels like it's gonna fall apart in a couple of spots. This feather, the back side is not even wet, and it's just got little droplets on the front side. So that's pretty amazing. Our plain feather without anything on it got really gross, just like our clothes do when we swim. But the feather with vegetable oil is still doing good. The back side's just oily, it's not even wet. So I think that's a pretty good conclusion. We learned that the oil keeps the feather from getting wet. So ducks' feathers, they can swim because they have special oil on them that helps them from getting wet and sinking and feeling gross in the water. That's fun. And you get to splash water around. So I hope you had fun doing those experiments. I think they were cool and they definitely taught me something. You can try them out at home on your own if you'd like to. And don't forget to come to the library and check out all the really cool animal books we have. We have books that teach you things and some books that are just funny about frogs who don't want to hibernate. We also have a summer reading program going on now. You can sign up for that at home and do all your reading at home if you want to. And we look forward to seeing you either here in the library or back on another video. Bye.